We are live, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for joining us on this Sunday, December 6, 2009 edition. We see the entire corporate structure, the entire government structure worldwide pushing for taxes on all human activity to be paid to a world government. We see the states across the United States implementing their own cap-and-trade systems, their own systems to track and trace everything you do. This is slavery. And in the IPCC United Nations Treaty that we've covered so many times on air, it states global government with control over all nations will be implemented through this plan. That's why it's so wonderful that 2 weeks ago, thousands of emails and documents, including the climate programs that the UN was using, got leaked. Now, Reuters and others are reporting that they believe Russians may have hacked this. But it doesn't matter who hacked it. They're saying they think Russian students there hacked it because it was released on a server out of Russia. But that doesn't make sense, because 6 weeks before that happened, it was leaked and given to the BBC and other British and U.S. media. And reporters, it's now come out, this has been in multiple newspapers, had the material and asked to be able to go with it with their editors, especially at the BBC, and were told no. And those reporters are saying that they got it from researchers inside of the East Anglia Climatology Center, the head UN center. Because if you're going to engage in fraud, you've got to have one place the fraud comes from to keep your story straight. But continuing along those lines, then I'm going to your phone calls, and then into the fact that Obama is cutting Medicare and Medicaid. That's the supposed liberalness of this guy in his government-run health care. You see, because the big banks that have bankrupted this country by design, they need all the money for themselves. And later, arming Goldman with pistols against the public. This is out of Bloomberg. I mentioned this a few days ago. I want to get into it today. How Goldman Sachs fears rioters attacking them, so they're arming themselves with weapons. This is out of Bloomberg Financial. First off, emails that rocked climate change campaign leaked from Siberian closed city, university built by KGB, UK Daily Mail. Suspicions were growing last night that Russian security services were behind the leaking of the notorious British ClimateGate emails, which threatened to undermine tomorrow's Copenhagen Global Warming Summit. And the UN is finally admitting that this does hurt them, because this is their main climate center. Again, the emails admit they're engaged in fraud, and they know the Earth's cooling. The ice cores, the tree rings, all the measurements, they have been caught lying about the thermometer data worldwide. The Earth has been cooling for 9 years. It was heating, part of a natural process. Even the UN's own reports say 2 to 6%, depending on which report, of warming, which itself is a fraud, is man-made. The UN says the seas will go up 1 foot. The UN is being forced to admit that's a fraud now. But Schwarzenegger is giving speeches saying it may raise 10, 20, 30, 40, even 50 feet. Just totally made up. No one is saying that's true, except for John P. Holdren, White House science czar, who got grilled in Congress about saying it would rise 13 feet this week. An investigation by the Mail on Sunday has discovered that explosive hacked emails from the University of East Anglia were leaked via a small web server in the formerly closed city of Tomsk in Siberia. Russian news reported this a week ago, but they're not saying Russia is the ones that got it out, because they're pointing out that it was on other university servers. It was leaked onto servers all over the world. The leak scandal has left the scientific community in disarray after claims that the key climate change data was manipulated in the run-up to the climate change summit of world leaders. The row, or fight, erupted when hundreds of messages between Science University of Climatic Research Unit and their colleagues around the world were placed on the Internet along with other documents. Like the computer program, which we have posted up on Infowars.com, where there are computer programmer notes how to engage in fraud and how to hide the decline in temperature. So that is just some of what's coming up today. But again, not Alex Jones, not Lord Monckton, not Senator Inhofe, not Ron Paul. We're not the ones saying this. Ban Ki-moon, the Secretary General of the United Nations, Herman von Rompuy, the new head of the EU, Al Gore, Gordon Brown. Well, I played all these clips last week. I'm not going to play them again because of time. If you go to YouTube and type in Von Rompuy or Von Rompuy, however you pronounce it, world government, his clips come up where he's saying it. If you go to the New York Times and type in Ban Ki-moon, his editorial, We Can Do It, comes up where he says the heart of global government is the taxation system of climate change. They're all saying it. Now, 14 years ago, I would read official UN documents on air, and people would just say I was lying and making it up. You cannot live in denial about this anymore. World government is real. The New World Order is real. The banks bankrupting our society to take control in their own documents is real. The fact that carbon dioxide is what plants breathe is true. Carbon dioxide is not toxic. One volcano puts off more carbon dioxide than 100 years of human activity. This is a fact. I could continue ranting about this, but the World Government Treaty, in the treaty it states that if your nation signs on to it, you are bound by international law to never be able to get out unless there is a unanimous vote by every signatory. That'll be over 190 that are in attendance. If there's a unanimous vote, it doesn't take a unanimous vote to pass it, only a majority vote. It doesn't take a unanimous vote to pass it. It only takes a 51%. But once you sign on to it, it takes 100% for you to get out of it. That is impossible. That is right out of Dictatorship 101, ladies and gentlemen. That is the bottom line. And it states that the United Nations Intergovernmental Panel on Climate will decide what industries can be developed, what new technologies can be brought out. It's a scientific dictatorship. It decides what taxes to be put on all carbon dioxide, and all greenhouse gases. And they state one-child policy worldwide, taxes on all meat, taxes on all petrochemicals, taxes on all natural gas, taxes of at least 50% on all coal. And half the energy in the country or more, 51%, comes from coal. This is a total world government takeover. Yes, I predict the United States will sign on to the Copenhagen Treaty. Obama's also going over to Europe to get his Nobel Peace Prize. What a joke. Of course, they gave it to Kissinger and to Al Gore, so why not? I mean, why not give it to Hitler? You know, he was nominated for a Peace Prize. And he's going to sign on to it. But that doesn't mean it will be ratified in the U.S. We'll be right back with your calls on the government takeover of health care and ClimateGate and the Copenhagen Treaty. Stay with us.